Game Freak has just released Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and after finally reaching the incredible number of over 1,000 Pokemon, I finally have the one that I've been asking for so long.
Yes! Yes! Look at him! He's perfect! It's just a fucking dolphin!
But have you ever thought about how Game Freak designs these little bastards? Well, I had nothing better to do, so I did the research. I spent days researching developer interviews, hours reading hundreds of Pokedex entries. Hell, I even contacted Pokemon specialists and insider sources to try to get every expert opinion on this topic that I possibly could.
So in your professional opinion, what inspired you to pick up the title of a game designer at the Pokemon Company?
Oh my goodness, her head is so big, just look at it!
And I can safely say that I have a very clear understanding of what Game Freak's design process goes through when they decide to create one of these timeless creatures. And Bruxish, I'm not gonna promise that all of these are great.
But to do that, we need to go all the way back to 1996 and take a look at the original designer of Pokemon themselves, Ken Sugimori, who was originally a manga designer. I wonder where they got their inspiration from. The first generation of Pokemon had very simplistic designs. This is a bird, this is a seal, this is a dog, and I don't care if he's origin simple, I love him. But I think now that we're 1,000 Pokemon deep, people often overlook that the only other monster collector that we had at the time was Shin Megami Tensei and maybe Dragon Quest. And I don't know about you, but a cute little squirrel turtle hybrid is a whole lot cuter than—
Jesus fucking Christ, is that a dick?
Relatability. The reasons designs in Pokemon work so well and are so timeless is they're easy to understand. I can look at this creature and say, oh, that's a dinosaur with an onion on its back. I shouldn't need to get a Harvard degree to understand that Okinui Ishi is a reference to the Izumo entomology in Shinto Japan, as they're the son-in-law of the Sun Gorm Sasano, who helped build the foundation of Japan in the beginning with— This is a flamingo. His body is a boxing glove. Simple to understand and easy to look at. They're not overly complicated. They're not a mess to look at. Besides the first game, these look like a highway accident. Take Pikachu. He's a little yellow mouse. Atsuko Nishida had an obsession with squirrels with their twitchy, sporadic movements and how they stored nuts in their cheek. Pika is onomatopoeia for the sound of a light switch flicking on. Chu is the Japanese word for mouse. Put them both together, and you have a decoration for Thanksgiving each year. All of these different moving parts create the mascots of the series that we know today, which leads me to my second point: biology. Every time I read an account from a developer or an artist interview, every single one continued to bridge off of this point of biology being a key factor in a Pokemon's development, meaning how that character fits into the ecosystem of the world of Pokemon. How does this Pokemon live and contribute to its environment? Some Pokemon are self-explanatory. I mean, hell, they made a book out of this one. But others leave me curious, like, how do you possibly eat food? Wait a second. How do you fuck? Grafai-Eye, very poisonous, very deadly, but its saliva has a sweet scent that it uses to draw on trees to attract bug Pokemon before viciously murdering them. Grafai-Eye is nocturnal, much like Duskull, who uses his Grim Reaper-like appearance to sift through walls and approach its prey before the break of dawn, before viciously murdering them. Zangoose and Seviper have territorial battles. Heatmore lights its tongue on fire to take down and feed on other Durant. Porygon is born from the digital realm and rise of computers that feeds off the power of little kids' seizures. Wingull has hollow bones, which it takes advantage of by riding updrafts to high locations to scout for prey and stored in its beak. This is why Pelipper ends up with a large bill, and both Pokemon have the ability Keen Eye, allowing it to more easily catch its prey. Oh, come on! I wasn't gonna go there! Why? Most Pokemon are designed with this physiological makeup that helps determine how a Pokemon survives and interacts with the world around it. Of course, some of these are simply used to expand how we think about Pokemon in a practical sense. You know good and damn well somebody drew Drifloon and thought, look guys, capitalism! Not where the concept of Drifloons abducting kids and carrying them away to never see their families again. Look, I said I had a lot of answers, not all of the answers. Furfrou and Wooloo have a practical use. Much like with real-life animals, trimming their fur improves their health and increases its swiftness in battle, while of course also providing trainers with the clothes that they wear. Don't tell this to PETA. Some Pokemon are specifically designed to introduce a new mechanic or environment. Castform only exists because Gen 3 put a large emphasis on the environment, so they wanted a Pokemon who could show off the new weather mechanic. Since Gen 5, every region has been based off of a different locale, so the Galar fossil Pokemon got a very bad rap for being ugly designs, but it's theorized that they're based off of the Crystal Palace dinosaurs, a museum filled with some of the first full-scale fossils recreated. with horrible inaccuracies. Long story short, they mixed up some of the bones, and now we've got fake Frankenstein dinosaurs based off of the wrong Pokemon. Boom, funny fish. Trubbish, I will defend Trubbish all day. We've got a Pokemon born from a chemical reaction of domestic and industrial waste that feeds off of garbage, and they hail from the region that's just New York City. Voltorb, I will still vouch, is one of the coolest designs Pokemon has ever made. All it's doing is taking the normal mimic trope you see in RPGs and recontextualizing it to fit inside of the Pokemon universe. Now, this was already cool enough, but they made Voltorb angry due to its constantly being mistaken and harassed by trainers, which is why it's only available in power plants tucked away in corners as far away from humans as it could possibly be. But you know what Pokemon I do care about a lot?
Look, I got his matching outfit.
Everyone has a favorite Pokemon. Mine happens to be Piplup. I watched the Diamond and Pearl anime and saw a small cocky bastard with a fierce attitude, dumb personality, and cries over everything. Sound familiar? Which at the end of the day is why Pokemon are created the way they are. Every Pokemon is designed with a certain personality in mind. Think of your 3 starters. Every single one can be described with one simple adjective. Happy, sad, confident, goofy, cocky. It's not hard for a kid to sit there and say, I like the Pokemon with the cracked single on its body. Back in Black and White, Kensuke Mori fought for Oshawott design because he believed that the freckles had more character. Paraphrasing his words, yes, Oshawott looks better without the freckles, but he doesn't look as memorable. And at the end of the day, that's what the core of Pokemon design is all about. Giving a player something that's relatable and something that they can connect with to help them fall in love with that creature. These are havoc-wreaking monsters with supernatural abilities. You have to be able to give them humanity and a reason for us to think, yeah, I actually want to be friends and be pals with this 47.5-foot whale. Now, of course, it wasn't always this way, because let's be honest. How am I supposed to get emotionally attached to this? That's where we get the Pokemon anime. The byproduct of being able to take a Pokemon like this and visualize it so you can make out what 8 pixels on a screen might look like if it wasn't, well, 8 pixels on a screen. I don't really have a personal attachment to any of the Pokemon in the original game, but the anime, I can go off about how much of a personal attachment I have to Horsey, Vulpix, and all of the other Pokemon we've met along the way. Can I tell you that all of my love for Sandshrew comes from the Kids Club minigame in Pokemon Stadium where you just have to dig a hole as quickly as you can? Between the anime, the spin-offs, and especially the Pokedex entries, Game Freak's design philosophy revolves around taking a species and acknowledging that it's a living, breathing organism capable of emotion. I never thought too much about Bagon because it's just a baby dragon in a cave, but Bagon is a Pokemon that dreams of being able to fly, so he pounds his head against the meteor falls wall so vehemently that he grows a hardened shell to evolve into Shelgon, before finally evolving into Salamence, where he can express his joy by spewing flamethrowers as he glides through the sky. No matter who you are, if you bring strong emotions near this Pokemon, it will silence you violently. I fucking love her. Pokemon are designed to be pets and lovable creatures. Even Pokemon like Steelix, massive titans that tower over others, still have that human nature that helps us fall in love with them. So with all of these different media outlets in which we experience Pokemon combined, everyone has a Pokemon that can influence them or form a special connection with in some way. Guess who saw Mr. Mime and decided to dedicate all of their time to learning how to cook like a 5-star chef? Not me. But guess who did see Piplup cheering on Dawn and thought to themselves, I'm gonna try out for the cheerleading team in high school no matter what people think of me. Also not me. Jesus, what did you expect? But I guarantee you, someone out there is a firefighter because of Squirtle Squad. Somebody started gardening because they fell in love with grass types. When you see how easy it is for Pokemon to connect to the real world and how Pokemon has built its entire series around relatability, biology, personality, I mean, Detective Pikachu is the perfect example. The movie worked so well because the hardest part was creating more realistic designs. They didn't need to change personalities or give any Pokemon backstories. They just threw them into the city and it worked. Because each species of Pokemon are its own character.
The reason that you can remember 1,000 different Pokemon is because each of these traits stay with you. These Pokemon aren't memorable because they look good, they're memorable because they're real. They're connected to our real lives, they're connected to what we enjoy seeing in the world, And that's the core focus of what Game Freak gives to us. I reflect a lot on this interview with James Turner, the art director for Pokemon Sword and Shield. He explains how when you see a design for a Pokemon, you can tell who the artist is behind it. You can tell who's a fan of superheroes and who's into cute animals. He recounts how when creating Buzzwole, this intimidating otherworldly titan from outer space, he gave it these silly poses that he does that makes you think, hey, I can befriend these Pokemon. The core of Pokemon is taking all of these varying creatures of different shapes and sizes and making a team out of whatever Pokemon you want to. Even if you don't like a Pokemon's execution, it still has a place in the world. There's still a core idea to that story, a relatable one at that, to why this Pokemon was introduced. I still don't know what the f this is.
What, were you expecting a blooper here?